road again. Guess where we're going? Oh my gosh. We're going to Liverpool. So, in my previous video when I said welcome to Black History Month, I mentioned that I will be going to Liverpool to the International Slavery Museum. So I'm going there now. So I'm on my way to the place, and I'm excited. I mean, I've been to it before, but we only stayed for a short period. And in going the second time around, it just made me start thinking about the whole slavery issue and what the ancestors, to say, must have experienced when they came to Britain or anywhere they were being shipped to. So you know, I just reflected on the journey to the unknown, considering the harsh experiences that they had on their journey by boat. I just wondered, when they left their parents or when they were captured and taken to this unpleasant journey, how they possibly cried, how they struggled to be free, not knowing how to set themselves free from the boat. And possibly some of them, in trying to find some sort of freedom in the shipping, probably jumped out into the sea as a way to find refuge or rescue or freedom. But the sad thing about it is that at that time, at least, the most they could have swum in their life was in their local rivers or local streams. So they wouldn't have known how to swim across Atlantic Ocean or whichever ocean that was used, because rivers and oceans are different and much more different from streams. So I just wondered what type of things that they did to possibly comfort each other in the midst of the, I'll say, one of the most wicked and inhumane things that people can do. You know, in the Bible, where the Israelites were captured by the Egyptians and were enslaved in Egypt, and according to the Bible, they sang songs for themselves. For example, that song that goes, by the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down, and there we wept, when we remembered Zion, when the wicked carried us away to captivity. They required from us a song. How can we sing in the Lord's song in a strange land? So let the work of my hands and the meditations of my mouth. I think it's my heart, I can't remember remember exactly how that area goes. Be acceptable in your sight, we pray, oh Lord. So you singing this song, you know, it kind of made me think to myself, I know as black people in general, at least I know I was speaking from an African perspective, when issues and things get to us so much, one of our own way, I'll call it coping mechanisms, and a way to release the stress and find joy in one way or the other is through songs, is through singing. So I kind of wondered what type of songs that they sang for themselves. I mean, in one of my previous videos where I did the slavery song, some of the stories that my dad told us, and that's one of the songs. I remember that story from the song. I can't remember exactly how the story went, but I remember the song, and me and my sisters will always sing it, and it always brings some sort of sadness to us anyways. But that's kind of one of our stories, and it kind of showcases like possibly the parents watching their child being taken away from them forcefully, or through bribery or corruption or corrosion, whatever, and what they must have felt. So, and also then it made me reflect also on when they finally got here. I know you can imagine the weather would definitely have been different. They wouldn't have known how to cope. The body had to adjust to it. And again, I still wondered how they were able to adjust to British food or English food or any country that they were enslaved to. The food and cultures of those people, which is very different from what they have. The case of either you take what you're given or not. And I still see these things in many older black women where to them there's no choice, and you can see the impact of slavery and hardship and whatever they went through still psychologically in their mind. And it also helps me to try and understand more of our parents, because I find it very, very stupid and also sad at the same time when people think they can do better than their parents. Well, yes, in different aspects, things that you experience, you know you can never do that again. So guys, one of the reasons why you can never do better than your parents is because you were born in different times and the experiences that they have is different from you. You can't have the same experience as your parents, okay? You can't. So I think it's important that whoever still have some sort of hatred towards the way their parents treated them, especially those that their parents experienced the hardship and things of slavery, I think it's important that we show understanding to the behaviors, maybe not the nice behaviors that they showed, because their time was different. They suffered a lot, you know. This is the same thing you hear people talk about, like World War this, World War that, and how they had to manage and survive. It is in a similar way when people came out of slavery. They had to manage and survive. And yes, they probably learned that if they don't do the work, they get beaten. And it may have transferred to them, that to their children. And then it may transfer to their children. If you don't do the work that you're asked to do, you get flogged, you get beaten. And that's what they experienced. So it's really important that we show empathy to our parents and understand that the suffering that they went. I just thought to myself, like, the different ways that they probably worked hard for us, the current people who are in Britain, to get all this some sort of liberty and freedom to do the things that we are asked to do the things that we want to do. And some of these things include education. And I find it very sad when especially black children or their parents do not take education very seriously. I understand in most cases they don't teach you what you should know as a black person. But then again, would you be teaching a white person how to be white when you are not white? I don't think that makes sense. So they will never teach you about you because they're not you. And they can only teach you about you from what they want you to hear about you and what they believe you are about. It's like no one can tell you about yourself. And the same thing goes with any other issues regarding black people. A white person can only speak from a white person's perspective. They can never take from your own perspective because you are not the same. And as a black person, you can still only speak from your own black person's perspective. And a white person can never understand from your perspective what you must have felt like. And I also believe like the importance of education is not for you to learn about how to be westernized. And I think that's sometimes the misconception people get from it. And that's why you see some parents do not want their children to go to school because of the way their children comes out. Some are in many ways, when I mean westernized, I mean like they become disrespectful of their own African traditions without trying to give some heed to understanding it or understanding why such practices are practiced. And even if you want to make a change, at least be respectful and informative and understanding and show empathy to situations that the people experienced at that time. And that's why some not many, but some African parents, some of them don't want their children educated. But most do. At least they don't want educated in the African Western way of education. And then I remember this thing this man said, if you don't have a system yourself, you can only follow the system that is there. So if you don't have a system of educating your own people, and there is a system already established that works, you kind of have no choice than to follow that one. And the only way for you to even establish your own is to know how the one that works. The reason why the one that works, how it's developed, how it's been adapted, fitted in, made in a way that has brought many people into awareness of themselves and become critical thinkers. And I think that's what education does. And I find it very sad and also stupid when I hear people tell you don't need education to progress. My dear, the fact you learn ABCD doesn't mean that you know how to put the words together. That's why there's a difference between elementary school, primary school, and senior secondaries. And then goes into university. There is a reason why there's steps to these things, because for each part your brain learns differently, and it learns on at different stages. So it also made me reflect on these things, like all the things that we have been able to have today, and how grateful I am that there has been people that paved the way for me. And that's why I don't take most of the things that I do, especially education, and that's why I don't take it lightly. That's why I don't even take going to work lightly, because I know there are people that paved the way through blood, through death. Yes, many were killed to ensure that we as black people still get similar rights like other race. So we have nothing but to be grateful for all the things that we've been given to us, and please make use of it. And I keep mentioning mostly black people in power. Black people in power are, in today's society, I don't see them making use of their power in a way that is beneficial to other black people. And I feel like in most cases, this is my own opinion, when black people get into power, they forget that there was a struggle before the power was given. I know some of them may be choked in their own position, but I still believe, like, if you really do care about your own people, there is always a way. If you look at the book of Esther, there was a way. Look at the book of Moses, there was a way. Sorry, Exodus. Exodus. Read about Moses, there is a way. Read about Joseph. Joseph went through slavery as well. But what did he do when famine came to his people? So I just don't know sometimes some of the black people I meet in their positions. I can't complain this enough. They have no regard. They become very selfish. Yes, that's the word I've been looking for. They become very selfish, and they feel on top of the better than the other people, and that's not the case. Yes, you should feel proud of yourself for achieving to that end. But if you are the only one in there, it's only a matter of time you are taken down. That's the truth. That's why you need. If you see, I don't know. Sometimes I keep wondering why people don't observe other people, other race, how they do their things, how they work. That's the reason why they are working. Anyways, that's my own observation. Anyways, so yeah, on the road to Liverpool to the International Slavery Museum, I'm just reflecting on all the things that those that came through slavery times experienced, and how they have fought for us to enjoy what we are enjoying. And I believe that they didn't fight for those things for us to just enjoy in this country, but to learn from all the things that we've learned so far, and also use it to help our people. And that's like, see all the skills that the Israelites learned when they were in Egypt. They used it to build their own country when they were able to settle. It's okay. So I think my whole purpose is also for us to remember. Let them not be forgotten. For every time, I'm not saying every time you eat, you're like, oh, thank you for fighting for me. It's God that saw them through. But I'm just saying, whenever we look at all the things that we have that we take for granted, just remember there was a person, there was a blood, there was sweat, there was a breathing thing that made those things possible. And it also helps me to understand that, yes, though the slavery occurred, there were people that helped to make sure that slavery was it was stopped, abolished. It was abolished. So let's not forget those ones, and also thank them for the roles that they played. For example, John Newton, who sang Amazing Grace, he wrote it. And it's so funny that many black people love that song, and that's one of the things that they sing every time. But it was written by actually a slave master after repenting from his evil ways. Just told you how God helped him see the evil in slavery. And it wasn't just him. There's a really positive role that Christianity played in ensuring freedom from slavery. And John Newton is a very great example of how God, in his infinite mercies and power, was able to give someone like him the eyes to see evil and condemn it. Yes, it took him time before he actually stopped altogether. And that's one thing with evil. When you're committing it, it's sweet to you. Then when you are told to do it and you realize you have to stop to do it, it takes time for it to stop, or for you to free yourself from it. So there are many ways Christianity played a part in ensuring that slavery is stopped. So I'll be reading up on that as well. I've just been reading up a little bit about Black British history, on how Black people played a part in British culture, because British culture is mixed with everything right now. To be honest, I don't see what they can really claim as British culture. So that's kind of my thing, you know. So let's not forget these people and always thank them for what they have done. And by thanking them, I'm not saying thank you, it's by us in our own efforts and in our own works to do well in what we do, whilst we're still living in this diaspora, and take the good that we learn, not the bad. And I'll speak for Nigerians. I discover a lot of Nigerians take the worst that they learned in this country, take it back home. They take all the bad behaviors in most cases. I'm not lying, I've seen it in display, and it's still in the media as well. Rather take the good that they learned and take back home to help people understand the good that are here. They often take the bad ones home. So if you're one of those people, please repent. There's no point in sitting here and gossiping about Nigeria when you never have invested anything good in terms of your behavior when you go back home, the way you speak to people when you go back home, the way you treat them when you go back home. So maybe we should start becoming more grateful and helping each other to grow, both mentally, spiritually, physically, and one way, find a way to help our country. Because it's easy staying in a country that is safe. There's a reason why he made them so. They made sure of it. We as well can make sure that our country is safe enough for us to return back when we wish to. So on this note, I'm going to go as the traffic has lightened up. So I'm taking myself off this camera. Thank you. I'll be uploading again hopefully next week. So do take care. Bye.